Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel and happy Vlogmas day 21. Today I'm back with my last sit down video of Vlogmas. I'm looking at this stack of books next to me. It's freaking me out. Do we think I can pick it up? Here it is. Yikes. So today, as you can probably see from the title, we're going to be talking about my 2022 most anticipated releases and the books that are currently in my TBR that I want to read in 2022. And there's a bunch of them. So let's get started with the anticipated reads for 2022. I have them saved to my Goodreads. My Goodreads always linked down below. I have 5 books that are on my list for 2022. There will be more, like we all know, but for now, this is what we're working with. So the first book on my list is To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. She is the author of A Little Life, which I have not read and I probably won't read. I just don't think I can handle that, and I don't need to like submit myself to that. But this book sounds really interesting, so I'm just gonna read you a little synopsis. So in an alternate version of 1893 America, New York is part of the Free States, where people may live and love whomever they please, or so it seems. The fragile young scion of a distinguished family resists betrothal to a worthy suitor, drawn to a charming music teacher of no means. In 1993 Manhattan, besieged by the AIDS epidemic, a young Hawaiian man lives with his much older, wealthier partner, hiding his troubled childhood and the fate of his father. And in 2093, in a world driven by plagues and governed by totalitarian rule, a powerful scientist's damaged granddaughter tries to navigate life without him and solve the mystery of her husband's disappearance. So that sounds super cool to me because it's kind of like historical fiction, but also like the future as well, and it sounds fascinating. I am definitely interested in that. I'm hoping it's not as long as A Little Life, because A Little Life was super long. Yeah, it doesn't say how long it's gonna be yet, but I think it'll be really good. Okay, the next book on my list is The Vixen by Francine Prose. This book, what caught me is that it's about the Rosenberg execution, or yeah, but from people who like knew them. It's a historical fiction. So anyway, in 1953, and that's not even right. It's 1953, and Simon Putnam, a recent Harvard graduate newly hired by a distinguished New York publishing firm, has entered a glittering world of 3 martini lunches, exclusive literary parties, and old money aristocrats in exquisitely tailored suits. A far cry from his loving middle-class Jewish family on Coney Island. But Simon's first assignment, editing The Vixen, The Patriot, and The Fanatic, a lurid bodice ripper improbably based on the recent trial and execution of Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, a potboiler intended to shore up the firm's failing finances, makes him question the cost of admission, because Simon has a secret that at the height of the Red Scare and the McCarthy hearings he cannot reveal. His beloved mother was a childhood friend of Ethel Rosenberg's. His parents mourn Ethel's death. So the Rosenbergs were executed for being spies during the Red Scare, and I'm just fascinated by the time of the Red Scare. I love me some communism. But yeah, I'm fascinated by that time period, so I think this will be super interesting and a unique story about the time, so sounds pretty cool. Next we have Cake Eater. I told my book club about this one and everyone was on board, so this is definitely gonna be like a big deal when it comes out. So this one is like a futuristic Marie Antoinette. So it says, she has millions of followers on social media. She uses her fashion-forward eye to pick the perfect angle and filter on every photo. She's iconic. She's a trendsetter. She's Marie Antoinette. The year is 3070, and she's arrived in the Frank kingdom to marry the prince, secure an alliance, and rake in likes from her fans. Versailles is not the perfect palace Marie's seen on the apps. Her life is a maze of pointless rules, and the court watches her every move for mistakes. Her shy husband, Louis, I guess, is more interested in horses and computer hacking than producing heirs. Versailles seems like a dream full of neon-lit statues, handsome android soldiers, and parties till dawn. Under the surface, it's a creepy den of secrets, surveillance in Marie's bedroom, censored news feeds, and disappearing courtiers. When Marie and Louis become king and queen long before they're ready to rule, any efforts of to aid their suffering subjects are stamped out by the mega corporations of the First Estate. Between riots in Paris and the image-wrecking social media firestorms, Marie can't afford to lose her head. Using her social media savvy and Louis' hacking knowledge, they try to fix their reputations and change their kingdom for the better, but the royals may find it's already too late. They're ruling over the end of an era. Like, how cool does that sound? Versailles, but in like the 3000s? So cool. So cool. Okay, and then I got 2 more that I'm anticipating for next year. We have The Power of Regret. This is a nonfiction. The Power of Regret, How Looking Backward Moves Us Forward. So it's basically a nonfiction about how regret can help us make smarter decisions. It draws on research in social psychology, neuroscience, and biology about the myth of no regrets, and uses the largest sampling of American attitudes about regret ever conducted, which has collected regrets of more than 15,000 people in 105 countries. He lays out the core regrets that each of us have, and it kind of talks about like how you can use those to like make a better life, and I think that's super interesting. Regret is a big like concern of mine, so I think it will be an eye-opening read. Okay, one anticipated release that I forgot about, because it's not in my anticipated releases, it's folder, it's in my books I want to read folder, is Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. So this is for fans of Caraval and the Night Circus. All her life, Janny has dreamed of elsewhere, just barely scraping by with her job at Tannery. She's resigned to a dreary life in the port town of Dirk, caring for her younger sister Zoza, until the Hotel Magnifique comes to town. The hotel is legendary not only for its whimsical enchantments, but also for its ability to travel, appearing in a different destination every morning. While Janny and Zoza can't afford the exorbitant cost of a guest stay, they can interview to join the staff, and are soon whisked away on the greatest adventure of their lives. But once inside, Janny discovers that their contracts are unbreakable, and that beneath the marvelous glamour, the hotel is hiding dangerous secrets. So this was described to me as like a cool hotel, and you can go in but you can't leave, which kind of sounds like Hotel California, and that whole idea fascinates me. So there we go. That is the other one. And the last one is Truth and Other Lies by Maggie Smith. This is described as The Devil Wears Prada meets All the President's Men. So 3 women's careers hang in the balance: a famous journalist, a fledgling politician, and a young reporter with ties to each who must navigate the tricky terrain between secrets and lies. Megan Barnes' life is in free fall. After losing both her job as a reporter and her boyfriend in the same day, she retreats to Chicago and moves in with Helen, her overprotective mother. Before long, the two are clashing over everything from pro-choice to Me Too, not to mention Helen's run for Congress, which puts Megan's career on hold until after the election. Desperate to reboot her life, Megan gets a chance when an altercation at a campus rally brings her face-to-face with Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Jocelyn Jones, who offers her a job on the PR team. Before long, Megan is pulled into the heady world of fame and glamour her charismatic new mentor represents, until an anonymous tweet brings it all crashing down. Sounds super cool. Very much something up my alley. So those are the 5 books that I am anticipating for 2022, and now we're gonna go over to my physical TBR for 2022. This stack of books is books that I already own, with the exception of one, but I will talk about that I want to read next year. It's a lot of them, and I don't know that I'll get to all of them, and maybe I'll start them and not like them, but these are all the ones I could think of that I want to give a shot next year. So I'm gonna start with the 2 non-physical ones. So the one exception to this is House of Earth and Blood, which is the first book in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. Oh, I meant to talk about that, but the sequel is coming, so add that to the 2022 anticipated releases section of this video. But anyway, Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas, House of Earth and Blood. I have not yet physically purchased it, but I plan to before the end of 2021, and I'm adding it to my 2022 physical TBR. So this is another fantasy series, and I'm gonna buy the hardcover because we're gonna hopefully read along the second one, so I need to read the first one. It's like 800 pages. Okay. Bryce Quinlan had the perfect life, working hard all day and partying all night until a demon murdered her closest friends, leaving her bereft, wounded, and alone. When the accused is behind bars but the crimes start up again, Bryce finds herself at the heart of the investigation. She'll do whatever it takes to avenge their death. Hunt Athalar is a notorious fallen angel now enslaved to the archangels he once attempted to overthrow. His brutal skills and incredible strength have been set to one purpose, to assassinate his boss's enemies, no questions asked. But with the demon wreaking havoc on the city, he's offered an irresistible deal. Help Bryce find the murderer and his freedom will be reached. So, I don't know, I think it sounds good. I'm looking through my friends' reviews. One of them really liked it. One of them kind of liked it. So, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, the other book that I don't physically have with me is The Poppy War, because I have this one on my Kindle. It was on sale, so I bought it on my Kindle. This one's by R.F. Kuang. And when Rin aced the Keiju, the empire-wide test to find the most talented youth to learn at the academies, it was a shock to everyone. To the test officials who couldn't believe a war orphan from the Rooster province could pass without cheating, to Rin's guardians who believed they'd finally be able to marry her off and further her criminal enterprise, and to Rin herself, who realized she was finally free of the servitude and despair that had made up her daily existence. That she got into Seingard, the most elite military school in Nikan, was even more surprising. But surprises aren't always good, because being a dark-skinned peasant girl from the south is not an easy thing at Seingard. Targeted from the outset by rival classmates for her color, poverty, and gender, Rin discovers she possesses a lethal unearthly power, an aptitude for the nearly mythical art of shamanism. But the Federation of Mugen still lurks across a narrow sea. The military advanced federation occupied Nikan for decades after the First Poppy War and only barely lost the continent in the Second. And while most of the people are complacent to go about their lives, a few are aware that a third Poppy War is just a spark away. So I've heard there's a lot of trigger warnings for this, so if you're gonna read it, check those out. It's a very dark book, but I'm very interested in it, so I'd like to read it before the end of 2022 and maybe some of the other books in the series. Now my physical pile. Okay, I'm gonna go through these really quickly. American War, I talked about this in yesterday's video. It is about a second civil war with refugees and Americans basically fighting each other, essentially. It's a Second World War. Next, In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. This one I actually am hoping to get to this month, so it might already be done. This one is about a group of people who go back to their 10-year reunion for university, but one of their friends was murdered when they were at university, and the killer has brought them all together to try and figure out someone has brought them all together to figure out who the killer is. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens is about a girl who is thought that she is a suspect of a murder. Yeah, perfect for fans of Barbara Kingsolver. I love Barbara Kingsolver, so. Anyway, this one's also being made into a movie this year, so I'd like to watch that. Next up, A Court of Silver Flames, but this is representative of the entire ACOTAR series. I have A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver Flames left. This series is about a girl the world is split between humans and fae, and she kills a fae and is then brought over as a prisoner to live with the fae, and a whole bunch of other things happen. But it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling originally, and then it just kind of goes off into other things. Next, I have The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. This is a poetry book. I liked the one that I read from hers earlier this year, so this is her 2017 release. Found it the other day as well, so I'm going to read that. Another book I found in the last video, Mother Night, a spy on trial in Israel as a Nazi war criminal by Kurt Vonnegut. It's gonna be weird, it's gonna be wild, but I like his books and they're super short. Next we have Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Iamide, and this is a Gossip Girl type book. So these two kids, they go to a private academy, but someone who goes by Aces begins sending anonymous text messages to reveal secrets about the two of them that turn their lives upside down. Sounds super good. I actually put it forward as a book for February for book club, so hopefully we can get to that then. Next, The Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern. This is about a circus that just like shows up, and there's a competition underway between two young magicians, Celia and Marco, who have been trained since childhood for the purpose of mercurial instructors, or for the duel, I guess. But then they fall in love. Oh, but I really like circus books, so I'm really excited about this. I've heard really good things. So it sounds a lot like the Hotel Magnifique, so I think both of them would be really good. And yeah, I'm just really intrigued by this whole circus thing. I really liked Water for Elephants, so. Next, another book that I found downstairs, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Captures the longing of lonely children, the brute insult of bigotry, and the words of wonder that can make the world right. So as I said in my video from yesterday, I'm named after Maya Angelou. My mom bought me this book, and I feel like I should probably read it because it's my namesake, so. Next, we have State of Terror by Hillary Clinton and Louise Penny. I talked about this in my haul. The plot of this book is a new administration is in, and the president picks a sworn enemy as their Secretary of State, and then the world kind of starts crumbling down around them. Enemies start coming, and they have to work together with other people to save the country. Only 3 left. We're making such good time. Okay, the next one is The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the sequel to The Inheritance Games, which is about a girl who inherits a fortune from a man she's never met, and then she has to live in the house with his rich family to get the fortune, and there's a bunch of like puzzles and games, and this is the sequel. So apparently the old man has now left her a game. I don't know, because I was watching with Cindy's video and she said that Inheritance Games was one of her favorite books of the year and The Hawthorne Legacy was one of her least favorite books of the year, so now I'm scared that I'm not gonna like this. But this is the sequel, so. Next, I have Cultish by Amanda Montell, and this is a book about the language of fanaticism, cults, why people fall into them, why they're so interesting, and could you also fall into one. And we are reading this in January for book club, and I'm so excited. Like, I've been wanting to read this book all of 2021 since I heard about it, so very excited. And the last one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one's set in the 80s. It's the annual end of summer party. Everyone wants to be around these famous people, but the only person not looking forward to the party is the main girl herself, who doesn't want to be the center of attention. And by midnight, the party will be completely out of control. By morning, the Riva mansion will have gone up in flames, but before the first spark in the early hours of dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shaped this family's generations will all come rising to the surface. So, I mean, that sounds pretty cool to me. I also bought that this year, and I just have not gotten to it, but I've heard really good things. So that is all for this video. I hope it wasn't too long, but if you have any anticipated releases for 2022 that you think I would like, leave them in the comments down below. I will add them to my Goodreads. And if not, tell me one book that's on your physical TBR that you want to read in 2022. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 22. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!